Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider. I'm your host, Thomas Bailey. Alongside me are my co-hosts, Alex Miley, Richie Miller, and Joe Lascala. As here today on Buffalo Sports Insider, we're going to be talking the NFL draft in honor of the draft coming up in 3 days. We are going to talk about doing a mock draft here today. So we're going to start off with me being the first overall pick. I will also pick at 5. So the rest of the guys here, we're going to do 1 through 8 for 4 segments all the way until we finish this thing out. I have the number 1 overall pick, and with the first pick, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC. Really, what hasn't been talked about this guy right now? I mean, he is the surefire number 1 overall pick. I don't think anyone will dispute that at this point. We're 3 days away from the draft, and it could not be more clear that the Bears really need a quarterback after getting rid of Justin Fields. It just makes too much sense to not do it. And a player like Caleb Williams, who could potentially be a generational talent, is the best available. So the Bears will take him. And now I turn it over to Joe. What is your second overall pick for the Washington Commanders?
Yeah, with the second overall pick for the Commanders, they have basically everybody.
Caleb Williams available. There's a lot of good options, but I believe they're going to go with Drake May. Drake May, 6'4", 230, great size, and great arm. Not the deepest thrower, but has the velocity to zip it into tight windows. He's also deceivingly athletic. He's not just a typical pocket passer who can only stand in the pocket and throw. He can make plays with his legs outside the pocket and outside the numbers. He almost has like a Justin Herbert kind of build to him. So the second overall pick, I think the Commanders go Drake May out of Carolina.
Nice.
With the third overall pick, I have the Patriots taking Jaden Daniels.
Now, me personally, I don't think this is the right decision. I'm not very high on Jaden Daniels. I would not take him at pick 3. I think they should wait in a quarterback. I personally would take Marv. But what I think is going to happen is they have a new regime coming in. They're going to want to get their guy. They're going to want to get a quarterback that they can build around. And ultimately, after the top 2 are taken, I think Jaden Daniels, they're just going to take by default. They may trade out of this pick. They may take Marvin Harrison Jr., but needing a quarterback, it makes sense. He's an elite runner. He can make a lot of plays with his feet. He has a beautiful deep ball. He reminds me a lot of Justin Fields with his ability to make plays with his legs. He struggles a little bit with his pocket presence. He looks to run a little too much. But if he can work on that and improve himself as a passer, he could become an elite quarterback.
With the 4th pick in the mock NFL,
the Arizona Cardinals select Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver, Ohio State. I think they're thrilled to take this pick. He's one of the best wide receiver prospects we've seen in a decade at least. He's 6'3", great combination of speed, agility, footwork. Really just a generational wide receiver prospect, not to mention he's the son of NFL Hall of Fame receiver Marvin Harrison. And it just brings some excitement back to the Arizona Cardinals. I think they're thrilled to make this pick here.
All right, back at the top of the order with me being the number 5th overall selection. The Los Angeles Chargers are a team that could potentially trade out, but with no mock trades being in this mock draft, I will select Malik Neighbors, wide receiver out of LSU. This is just the right pick if they do end up picking here. I think that they really, really desperately need a receiver. Number 1 on the depth chart right now is Quentin Johnson, the youngster out of TCU, which does not inspire me at all. I really think they could double down in this draft if that is the case, though. But you get an amazing receiver here. He's explosive. He's a deep threat. He can get you those plays. And with a quarterback like Herbert, he can get the ball to you no matter how far you run down the field. This just seems like a match made in heaven for the LA Chargers if they stick and pick. So give me Malik Neighbors out of LSU.
Yeah, with the 6th pick, I'm staying another wide receiver.
Off the board, Rome Odunze. There's a lot of speculation that this pick is going to be traded, and it would be a high-value pick to trade, probably multiple firsts. But if we're just sticking with how it is, Rome Odunze, 6'3", 212, massive deep threat. He's a my ball kind of catcher. He's very aggressive and has great route running and change of direction. And he showed that in this last year with Washington. He was a massive factor and was almost exclusively double covered in the national championship against Michigan. So I think he would go off the board with the Giants if things were to pan out this way.
Yep. And with pick 7, the Tennessee Titans.
They're going to take Joe Alt. This is a very, very easy choice. If this is how the board plays out, the Titans desperately need offensive line. They did need a receiver, but they filled that with Calvin Ridley in free agency. So their biggest need for, especially building out around a young quarterback like Will Levis, is improving that offensive line that was probably the worst in football last year, if not bottom three. They were terrible. So you go and get yourself Joe Alt, who is just an absolute monster, 6'9", 320 pounds, 34-inch arms. Like, he is just a beast, and he does everything well. He's great technically. I just think this is a home run pick for them if they can get Alt to fall to them at 7. I think in a deep tackle class, he is the clear number 1 tackle.
And with the 8th pick in our mock draft, the Atlanta Falcons
Take Dallas Turner, edge out of Alabama. This is a guy who I really like. Atlanta needs defense, and I think this is a guy who has game-changing ability on the defensive end. I think he could easily become their top player on their defense in a pretty short amount of time, similar to how Will Anderson did with Houston. He had 14.5 tackles for loss and 10 sacks last season, and he really works best as a strong side linebacker. He has lineup versatility, but if they're smart, they're going to play him as a strong side linebacker. He's long, twitchy, fast, great burst of speed from the edge. I think this is a guy who would be a great pick for Atlanta here at 8.
All right, and that will conclude the first 8 picks. We'll be back in just a
Few short moments with picks 9 through 16, which Alex will start with 9, hosting that when we return on Buffalo Sports Insider.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do...
Hi, Lauren. My name is Katie. We're going to take care of you, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
All right, back here for picks 9 through 17. We're going to be starting with the Bears at pick 9. Joining me is Caleb Babula,
Richie Miller, and Isaiah Marquez. He's dealing with some technical difficulties. He'll be joining us shortly. But with pick 9, after the top 3 receivers are taken off the board, I think the Bears are going to go with Laitu Latu. Personally, if it wasn't for his neck fusion surgery where he had to medically retire 2 years ago, I think he might be the first non-quarterback taken off the board. He is insane. He has one of the deepest bags I've seen out of edge rusher in a while. He can bull rush you. He can use speed. He's a great run defender. He even has the athleticism to drop in coverage if needed. I think, as risky as it is with his medicals, I think for the Bears, this is a slam dunk pick to be able to team him up with Montez Sweat. I think that could be a really scary defense in Chicago for years to come.
With the 10th overall pick, the New York Jets will be selecting Brock Bowers out of Georgia. He's one of the best tight end prospects we've ever seen. Really good contact balance, elite hands, can play a jumbo slot role and also can play inline, is really good as a blocker in open space and in split zone schemes. So it's something you'd like to see from the Jets, who need another weapon next to Garrett Wilson and just trying to beef up that offensive room with Aaron Rodgers at the end of his career. And Brock Bowers is just the perfect pick to do that.
So with the 12th pick, J.J. McCarthy will not be taken here. The Minnesota Vikings draft
Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. Hear me out. This is definitely a controversial pick. But for me, you have a roster where you have the best receiver in the game in Justin Jefferson. And in order to properly utilize his ability, you have a gunslinger quarterback here with amazing big play ability, who I believe is personally more polished than J.J. McCarthy. 6'3", 218 out of Washington. You know who else had those measurements? Warren Moon, and that's very much who he reminds me of, kind of a lefty Warren Moon. He has very fluid motions. His biggest concern is probably his durability. He had many injuries during his time as Indiana. And his age, which I honestly feel could be a plus with Minnesota, a team that is ready to be competitive very soon. I feel like just the big playability and experience of Penix here makes me choose him with the 11th pick.
With the 12th pick, Broncos here, I feel like the Broncos are one of the picks that's going to go talent only. I feel like, sorry, y'all, there are technical difficulties right now. But with the 12th pick, I have McCarthy going to 12. I feel like with the 12th pick, Broncos are looking at talent first. So who better than McCarthy at 12 falling? He's shown in his pro day that he can sling the ball. The Broncos are light at quarterback. They just picked up Zach Wilson, who I don't feel is up to par with where he was picked a few years ago. But yeah, I feel like McCarthy here should be picked.
With pick 13, I'm going to have the Raiders selecting Quinyon Mitchell.
I think it's either corner or tackle here, but with the top tackle being taken off the board, they have other tackles they could choose from, but I think their biggest need is a boundary corner. It can really solidify their defense, and Quinyon Mitchell is just that. He's very athletic, so he can develop into something even better than he is right now. He hasn't had much history playing press, and that scares some teams, but I think with his athleticism, he can play special teams. He's a great tackler, and he has great ball skills. So I think he can make a lot of plays in the ball, and I think he would just really fill out that secondary that already has Trayvon Moehrig and Nate Hobbs, and I think it would just solidify that defense into one of the better units in the league.
With the 14th pick, that would be the Saints, and they'd be picking Tolise Fuanga. And he is one of the best offensive linemen in the draft. In my opinion, he's the second best tackle in the draft. And he comes with a little bit of inside-outside versatility, as he can play some guard or tackle. But he has the foot speed to stay on the outside, and his arm length is better than people expected. And he's just got a really powerful barrel-chested upper body. So you can trust him against some of the more powerful guys. And he also has the hand speed and just simply the power to get some of the speed rushers off balance and just diminish anything they do. And best of all, he's very nasty in the run game. You can rely on him to get up to the second level in time because of his foot speed. And I'm just a huge fan of that, especially with Ryan Ramczyk and some of his knee cartilage issues. So it's just a home run, easy pick for the New Orleans Saints.
With the 15th pick in the mock draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Terrion Arnold, cornerback out of Alabama. Colts are in desperate need of an outside corner. They have a great slot corner in Kenny Moore, but they need an outside corner. And this is a great outside corner with great outside speed, great run support, 63 total tackles on the year, along with 5 interceptions and 12 pass deflections. And he's really just a hard worker who would flawlessly fit into this Indianapolis defensive scheme. I think this is a pretty safe pick here at 15. And in my opinion, Terrion Arnold is the best corner in the draft.
With the pick 16, I have Olu Fashanu going to the Seattle Seahawks. I feel like Seahawks were in dire need of offensive help. Pretty sure I feel like this is a safe pick. The Seahawks were ranked 28th in pass protection this past season, and they just lost 2 of their starting linemen. So I feel like the need has to be filled. Who better than Olu Fashanu at 16, the third lineman off the board? I think it's a safe pick.
All right, so after break, Evan will be hosting as we go
For picks 17 through 24.
You wouldn't do that. So why do you do this? Distracted driving kills an average of 9 people and injures over 1,000 every day in America. Put down your phone. Lives depend on it. Don't drive intoxicated. Don't drive intoxicated. A sobering message from Triple.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
And how's your serve coming along?
Not so good.
I think we should work on it this weekend.
Amy's birthday bash slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made.
Welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider for segment 3 of today's mock draft special. My name is Evan Harrington, and starting off with pick 17, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Nate Wiggins, the cornerback from Clemson. Height 6'1", 173 pounds. And the thing with Jacksonville, they signed Ronald Darby in the offseason, and they have Tyson Campbell, but I think Wiggins coming over through the draft would be a nice, acquisition to start opposite side of Tyson Campbell with the depth of Ronald Darby. And we're going to slide it over to Sebastian Sierra for pick 18.
With the 18th pick of the draft, the Cincinnati Bengals choose defensive tackle from Texas, Byron Murphy II, and he'll be a big addition to the Bengals defensive line. He's very explosive off the line. He has good strength. And even though in the pro day, he was very impressive where he ran a 4.87 40. And with the combination of strength, balance, and power in his lower leg, this would definitely help him dominate to make him stand out, especially with the Bengals.
Yeah, and with the 19th pick,
I have the Los Angeles Rams selecting Jared Verse, who's an edge rusher out of Florida State. I think the value of this pick is really good here. He's a bit of an underrated edge to me, and now that Aaron Donald is retired, they're going to need to fill the holes they have on pass rushing on the defensive line. This guy is very quick off the snap with very strong hands, good finesse moves, and he turns his speed into power, blasting through O-linemen's cores, and he's able to get to the quarterback at a very efficient rate, and I think that'll continue in Los Angeles.
With the 20th pick, I'm going to have to go with Graham Barton.
The Steelers need a center desperately. And this guy, he's a powerhouse. He has done center before in his freshman year at Duke. And with a little bit of coaching, I think that'll work for him. And the Steelers are in love with him currently, and it's going to be a good match for them.
With the 21st pick, I have Miami Dolphins selecting defensive lineman Darius Robinson out of Missouri, 6'5", 285 pounds. I mean, what do you not like about this guy? Obviously, Miami losing Christian Wilkins and Alex Van Ginkel due to free agency. They need a new cost-controlled young defensive lineman, especially with the quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers in the AFC East. They're going to need a guy like Darius Robinson to go after the guys in the backfield.
With the 22nd pick of the draft, the Philadelphia Eagles are choosing an edge rusher from Penn State, Chop Robinson. It's a crazy pick, but Chop Robinson actually will be a big role in Philly, I believe, with his athleticism and even his speed, where he ran a 4.48 40, and even finishing last season as an edge rusher with 15 tackles. 12 of them were just solo, 7.5 tackles for a loss, and then 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and even the way he break up passes. He's very explosive, and if you want to compare him to somebody, I would compare him to Michael Parsons, where just like a Michael Parsons, where he stood out as well. So I think the Eagles will be smart picking up Chop.
And for the 23rd pick, earlier in this draft, the Vikings are going to get their franchise quarterback, so they're going to need someone to protect them. I have offensive tackle Amarius Mims coming out of Georgia.
This dude is boom or bust. He will either be their starting tackle for the foreseeable future or someone who fades away, but he has the attributes to make it work. 6'8", 340 pounds, and he's surprisingly fast with 40 speed just north of 5 seconds. Freakishly strong, and they're going to hope this guy can protect their future franchise quarterback for years to come.
And with the 24th, we're going to talk about the Cowboys a little bit.
Born and raised a Cowboys fan here, and I'm used to losing, but we've lost a lot during the free agency. So, Tyron Smith and Tyler Biadasz were lost, and now the O-line really needs a center again here with the Cowboys. So I'm going to go with Jackson Power Johnson. And, after Barton being taken by the Steelers, in my opinion, this is the next best that the Cowboys can have.
Now that picks 17 through 24 are done. We'll see you guys after the break for the final set of picks 25 through 32.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do...
Hi, Lauren. My name is Katie. We're going to take care of you, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider, and we have the 25th pick of the NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers. I see the Packers picking an O-lineman here, Troy Fautanu, with the 25th pick in the NFL Draft. The Packers just parted ways with David Bakhtiari, and Jordan Love is the future. You have to protect the future, and the priority here is Jordan Love. I feel like protecting him and making sure that every next pick.
So with pick 26, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting center Zach Frazier out of West Virginia, 6'3", 313 pounds. He's here to replace the Pro Bowl center the Bucs used to have in Ryan Jensen. And the Bucs were used to having that Pro Bowl solidified center up front, protecting guys like Tom Brady and Baker Mayfield over the last couple of years. But they did lose Ryan Jensen, who did retire, and they're gonna, refill that spot with Zach Frazier out of West Virginia.
With the 27th pick of the draft, the Arizona Cardinals will be doubling up and choosing Keon Coleman from Florida State. Coleman was a top-tier receiver and has incredible speed and very explosive from an offensive standpoint. 11 touchdowns, and 658 yards. I think he'll be a great player for the Cardinals and even a great special teams player as well. So, yeah.
So, yeah, looking at the 28th pick for the Buffalo Bills, I really don't see them doing anything else besides picking a wide receiver. With Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs leaving, it's a big loss, and they need to fill that hole somehow. So the big three here, Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, and Malik Neighbors are all going to be taken off the board. I think the next best prospect is Brian Thomas Jr., and I think that's who the Bills will pick if he falls to the 28th pick. Over 1,100 yards this year, 17 touchdowns. I see him as the next best and could be a potential number one receiver for Buffalo in the future. A very explosive receiver with a 4.33 40-yard dash, 6'3", 209 pounds. Could be a huge deep threat for Buffalo, as Josh Allen is capable of picking him out on a long bomb.
And here we have the Lions pick. I see the Lions picking Cooper DeJean. Their secondary was by far one of the weakest positions in the Lions team as a whole. And with free agency, they started by trading for Carlton Davis, and then they signed Amik Robinson and also re-signed Emmanuel Mosley. So the Lions front office was clearly trying to fix that void. And Branch is already one of the best nickel corners in today's league, and I feel like Cooper DeJean is a nickel corner type of player, and I feel like who better to learn from than Branch.
With pick number 30, I have the Baltimore Ravens selecting J.C. Latham, offensive tackle out of Alabama, height 6'6", weighing at 342 pounds. And obviously, the Ravens lost some guys in the offseason on the offensive line: Morgan Moses, Kevin Zeitler, and John Simpson. 3 vacancies up front. I think the Ravens would be smart here to pick up a guy in the draft late here in the first round in J.C. Latham. The Ravens have pretty good history picking guys late in the first round, a.k.a. Lamar Jackson, who J.C. Latham could be protecting this upcoming season.
With the 31st pick in the draft, I have the San Francisco 49ers choosing offensive tackle from Oklahoma, Tyler Gunn. He's a 6'8", 322-pound, just straight beast who's dominating in the trenches. Great fundamental skills, and even when it comes to pulling into open space, he's very impressive, which helps give the backfield that advantage. And I believe he'll play a big role on the offensive line for the 49ers this season.
So at number 32, the Chiefs have a very interesting pick here. They could either look towards an offensive tackle because Donovan Smith is still currently a free agent, which leaves them with just Wanya Morris, who was a third-round pick in 2023. But I really realistically do see them taking a wide receiver in this spot if they don't trade up. I've seen a lot of Ladd McConkey shouts, and I do think that's who the Chiefs will take at number 32 if they remain in this spot. I think he's a very good route runner with great hands and is super quick, and it's something that the Chiefs need, even though a bit undersized at 6 foot, 185 pounds. I think having a reliable receiver will definitely benefit Mahomes, as that was a massive struggle last season. And with Rashee Rice facing a potential suspension, McConkey has a chance of having a lot of touches in his first season. As we've already got that quick guy in Hollywood Brown, I don't see us picking Xavier Worthy. So I do think that Ladd McConkey is going to be a reliable receiver for the Chiefs to take at number 32.
And that is it for the 2024 first round mock draft.